I'm here at St Mary's Church in Astbury. I'm here to take a look at some ancient tombs, the ancient hollow yew tree and the rude medieval carvings, among other things. This place really has some history. The village of Asbury is near Congleton, and it was one of the 8th parishes in the Macclesfield 100. And there was a church present at this site in the Saxon era, and possibly before. Now, saying all that, the origin of St Mary's isn't quite as clear as it sounds, but the discovery of stone fragments within sacks of carvings and coffin lids, as well as the base from an ancient stone cross, were found here, indicating there's probably an earlier Saxon church here. And then you've got this possibly a 2,000-year-old hollow yew tree. And I read all that remains is this fragment of an ancient shell, which leans across the path, now propped up. And this holds up the branches laden with thick foliage. Oh, look, I found another ancient yew tree. Look at that. But the trunk still looks quite substantial compared with some I've seen. And according to the ancient yew group, it's a hollow shell with living sapwood running under the shell, and it runs in strips, and it has a good spread of foliage with many young limbs and branches. The tree appears in good health despite initial appearances. And as usual with ancient yew trees, including this one, it marks a place as being sacred long before the church was built and the remnants of the Saxon crosses, as Druids are strongly connected with yew trees as ceremonial sites. Now, yew trees were often planted as sacred groves, and there were places of sanctuary and worship for the Druids, like a temple or chapel set within the natural world. There were places of spiritual refuge, places to calm the mind, refresh the spirit, and give comfort in times of distress. I love to sit and ponder at the age of these ancient trees and try and reflect on what they might have witnessed during its lifetime. One of the most important monuments at the church is this canopied tomb of a member of the Venables family, which dates from the 13th century. I think it's the only one of its kind in Cheshire. The canopy was actually constructed in the 17th century to protect the tombstone that had once actually been within the church in the late 13th century. There are two other memorials here, and there's one to the north and one to the south of the Venables tomb, which is pronounced Venable, and both of these are carved from yellow sandstone, and probably in the medieval period. One is a carving of a medieval knight, and this one's lost his leg, and it's the same material used for the Venables tomb. And the one to the north nearer the road possibly depicts a cleric with his hands in prayer. The Tower of St Mary's was built in the late 14th centuries, and it's unusual because it's separate from the body of the church, and it's joined by a passage with a porch. Apparently all styles of English Gothic architecture are represented in the church. And during the English Civil War, while nearby Biddulph Hall was under siege, the Roundheads stabled their horses in the church, and they damaged the medieval glass windows and removed some of the church furniture, including the organ. And another reason I came here because the church may be built on a Bronze Age burial mound. Because in 1931 Astbury Church was extended with a plot some distance from the church, and while digging the grave here they unearthed Bronze Age funerary urns, and it contained some calcinated remains, 4 teeth and a small amount of charcoal. Now sadly there was no trace of a mound on the spot where the urn was found, but it could easily have been ploughed under or levelled in earlier years. The bones proved to be fragments of a skull and ribs and were probably those of a female, and it was in a collared urn. A second Bronze Age urn filled with calcinated bones was discovered in the area afterwards, and it was kept in a cupboard at school for many years. Unfortunately, it was never recorded, and nobody knows where it is today. The church has a large number of gargoyles, grotesques and chimeras. One in particular I'll show you in a minute. I managed to get a shot of it. I don't know what it's doing on the church. Well, I don't know what to say. Sadly the church wasn't open when I was there, but there's some interesting stuff inside, and I managed to get some pictures. And in the porch is the Asbury Devil carrying in a corner, and it's from the 12th century. And the other 3 figures, I think they've got a lutist, harp player and a pipe player, and it's thought that the reason the devil is cringing is due to the music that he's hearing. Must be crap. I was very impressed with St Mary's. It had ancient yew trees, Bronze Age burial mounds, everything you could ask for from a church.